Hello everyone! Welcome back to my channel, Reading Time with Ayana Hannah. Thank you to all my subscribers and viewers. I appreciate you all. If you are watching for the first time, welcome. If you are interested in taking this journey with me, please go ahead, subscribe, and share this video. Thank you! Today, I will be reading a story from American Bible Society 5-Minute Bedtime Bible Stories, retold by Amy Parker, illustrated by Walter Carzon. The story I'll be reading is Safe in the Lion's Den. Safe in the Lion's Den. Daniel 6. There was a man named Daniel who lived in the kingdom of Babylon. Daniel had great faith in God. King Darius was in charge of Babylon. He had a lot of men who helped him to rule the kingdom. But the king trusted Daniel more than any other man. In fact, he trusted Daniel so much that he put him in charge of all the other rulers in the kingdom. The other rulers didn't like that Daniel was in charge of them. The rulers wanted to get Daniel in trouble with the king, but they could never catch Daniel doing anything wrong. So they came up with a sneaky plan that was sure to get Daniel into trouble. One day they went to speak with the king. "Mighty King Darius, we have come together to ask you to make a new law that honors you." One of the rulers began. The king nodded. The ruler continued. "The law shall state that if someone prays to any god or man other than you, then that man shall be thrown into the den of lions." One of the rulers handed the written law to the king. "Now sign this law, dear king, to make it official." King Darius signed the law. Then the men set out to catch Daniel breaking it. They knew that Daniel was faithful to his God. They knew that, no matter what, Daniel would continue to pray to his God. And they were right. Daniel had heard about the new law, but he believed that honoring God was much more important than honoring men. So, just as he did every other day, he went to his room to pray. He was not ashamed of his faith. His windows were wide open for the world to see. Even though it could get him in trouble, Daniel would give thanks to God. The rulers stood as a group outside Daniel's window. They grinned as they watched Daniel fall to his knees. They smiled as they heard him speak to his God, and they knew that they finally had what they needed to get Daniel in trouble with the king. The men rushed off to speak with King Darius. "Excuse me, King Darius," one of the rulers said, "but didn't you just sign a law saying if someone prayed to anyone but you, that man would be thrown into the lion's den?" King Darius answered, "Yes, that is true." "Well," the ruler tried to hide his evil grin, "Daniel doesn't care about you or your law. He prays to his God 3 times a day." The king's heart sank. King Darius loved Daniel. He trusted Daniel. And he had never thought that by signing that law, he would have to send Daniel to the lion's den. The mean rulers saw that the king wanted to protect Daniel. So they reminded him, "Remember, any law that you have signed cannot be changed." The king knew that this was true. Nothing he could say or do would protect Daniel now. He had no choice but to send Daniel to the lion's den. King Darius told his men to get Daniel and take him to the lion's den. Then the men threw Daniel in with the lions. The king hurried to the den. He called down to Daniel, "Daniel, may the God that you serve save you from these terrible lions." That night at the palace, the king refused to eat. He turned away the musicians who tried to play for him, and he did not sleep at all. As soon as the first sliver of light fell upon the kingdom, he jumped up and ran to the lion's den. He yelled into the den, "Daniel, Daniel, are you okay? Has your God saved you from the lions?" "Oh yes, King Darius," came a voice from the lion's den. "God sent an angel to close the lions' mouths. They didn't hurt me at all. I'm fine." The king was so happy. "Come, hurry," he called to his men. "Get Daniel out of the lion's den." The men reached into the den, and out climbed Daniel. King Darius ran to him and looked him over. He couldn't believe it. Daniel didn't have a scratch on him. Daniel had been faithful to God, and God had saved Daniel from the lion's den. It was then that King Darius decided to punish the rulers who had accused Daniel of disobeying the king's law. He also decided to write a new law. "From now on, throughout my kingdom," the king announced, "everyone must honor the God of Daniel." After that, Daniel continued to serve King Darius, and as always, Daniel continued to worship the one true God. The end. I hope you enjoyed that story. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.